I was talking to a guy some time ago, and he's a little bit one of these excessive conspiracy theorist type people, and he was saying like how we're creating AI, and then AI is going to get super advanced and sophisticated, and then they're going to start destroying us, and then we're going to have to like install a similar computer chip that we put in them. We're going to have to put in our own brain, so then we can interface with them and rescue and take our life back. And he says, "What do you think?" I said, "I think we're already AI interfacing with AI." Like, what do you mean? This whole human show, this whole creation is a form of AI. The real source is formless. This is the real, you can say, substratum or essence of life. It doesn't have form. So this must have been created somehow. Now we can say, well, God created it. Well, okay, but God's not an entity. You see, it insinuates when we say God created it, what do we mean God created it? That God's like some high level being and he just like does that, and then there's earth and nature and men and women and animals and everything else. I feel that I like this analogy though about computer programmers. Where do you think we got our ideas to create computers or create movies or video games? This is all because there's some deeper knowledge, some realization that we're actually we're creators, we're programmers. There's different levels of programmers though. Human programmers, they don't have nothing on the programmers on the higher dimensions that created the human program. This is what I like to contemplate. Until we can take raw, because people are like, oh, we can clone things, clone animals and maybe humans, and okay, but can we take raw elements? Can we create the raw elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether? Can we create that? No, we have to borrow that from the higher programmers that already created that, and then maybe we can create a little something. You see, we're not on the we're not on the real level. Most aren't aware of the higher programmers. Now, those who their spiritual samskara is activated and something in them knows, it's like their higher software, somebody pushed run, and they're like no longer so interested in creation, the level of creation. They're like, wait a minute, who's the creator though? Like, all these programs are good, like they're fun, and I'm programmed to like a girl and she's programmed to like guys, and yeah, okay, but that's a program. Who the hell created, like, who's the programmer? I want to find the programmer. And you can say the spiritual practice has begun, the awakening process has been initiated. So then the program starts to look for the programmer. Like, where's the programmer? I gotta do sadhana, and then I'll find the programmer. Okay, where's the programmer? You can't find the programmer. How can you find programmers? Formless programmer. Like, who's gonna find it? You can be the programmer, but you can't find the programmer. So then the mind, the non-duals, yep, I don't exist. I'm I am that I am. It's okay if you feel that and you want to say that to yourself, but when you start making videos saying that, you just don't do that. For somebody that's really realized that, you don't do that. You can do it for fun, maybe, but so the different levels of programmers, because God's not an entity. It's not an entity. It's not a thing. Can't understand God. Nobody can understand God. How are you gonna understand? Yeah, can't understand him. So he creates other programmers, like this higher echelon of programmers, right? That's why I like to talk sometimes about the causal dimension. What is causal? Causal means cause. It's cause. It's thought. Like, everything starts with thought. Well, there must be some high-level programmers, which in our essence is what we are too, but we don't recognize that when we're playing in this world. But on a higher causal dimension, we got a new body, a different, much lighter body, Our capacity and access to, you can say, our true nature is, it's like the difference between a Commodore 64 computer. Do you guys remember that? It's funny how we get older and say the same things that older people used to say when we were younger. Like they'd say, you remember when we didn't have electric? No, I don't remember that. Okay, but now I'm saying, do you remember the Commodore 64 computer? Most don't remember that. Compare that to the Apple. There's just no comparison. The capacity of an Apple is very high level compared to the Commodore 64. So, same thing. The programmer capacity, if we're going to talk about causal level dimension, much higher than the human programmers who can create video games and, you know, AI or whatever. It's a whole different deal. It's a whole different level. So they're the ones creating these, you can say, planets and populate them and create the bodies, and then they're like watching their creation. We're watching our own creation. Again, it's not like, see, when we use language, it creates this sense of separation. But what are we going to do? We got to use language if we're going to, you know, talk on this dimension anyway. So it's a higher part of ourselves that's creating all this that we're not totally aware of while we're in this dimension, because we're not supposed to be. The game wouldn't work. It's like if we created a video game, but somehow the character in the video game is aware that it's just in the video game. Maybe it wouldn't. We couldn't play it. The character would just be like, "Ah, man, this is stupid. Why are you making me like fight dragons and stuff? I'm gonna chill." You're like, "No, like go fight the dragon." No, I don't want to fight it. See, it doesn't know. The character in the video game doesn't know it's a character in the video game. So it's gonna do what we tell it to do. It's kind of like that. But there's also this capacity and level of becoming self-aware. Same thing that the little bit paranoid conspiracy guy was saying about the AI that we're creating. Maybe it's going to get more self-aware. That's another video, though. This whole thing. Some people, the mind worries. Says, yeah, but are we going to create the AI and can they become more conscious than the human being? Just simply said no. No, you can't. What we create isn't the same level as these higher programmers that created this form and body. So there's a big difference there. This AI created stuff is that we make is it's pure mind. It's pure mental based. It doesn't have the consciousness that we have in this human form. Anyway, so okay, let me see where we're at, because I don't even know what we're saying now. All right. I talked about how when these spiritual tendencies activate, we start to want to find the programmer. This is a very auspicious stage in evolution. It's cold out here. This is what we're here to do. This is the game that we're here to play, to recognize the programmer. At the same time, you recognize, though, that you can't recognize the programmer. What we can do is recognize all the software that's installed in this unit, recognize that it's software. In that process of recognizing it's all software, then as a byproduct of that realization, all of a sudden something, I don't know how to explain it, some intuitive sense is going to start to recognize that there's a vastness that that you can say we're one with. And I don't know what else to say about that. That's all. Like, what else are you going to say? You're going to start trying to explain the absolute. This is the highest goal in life. That's why there's a little risk when I make these kind of videos. The mind loves stuff like this. It wants to get into and break it all down. And no, here's what's really happening. That's not the point. The point isn't when I make these videos to try to like woo, no. The point is to show that everything is software. Everything. like literally everything. This whole thing of evolution, your gender, the whole aging process, law of decay, good, bad, ego, knowledge. That's also software. God doesn't have knowledge, it's beyond knowledge. Knowledge is part of it's an aspect of the game. Intuition, it's also software. Everything's software. So let the software be there. Don't deny it. Don't non-dual it away. I mean, you can imagine you can, but you can't. Let it be there and just see, oh yeah, this is the software playing out. Oh, okay, it's cool. It's cool. Sometimes it's not cool, but okay, that's cool. It makes the cool cool. It has to be not cool. Otherwise I couldn't enjoy cool. You start to understand how it all gets put together. And then in that recognition, like I said, something starts to realize that there's a vastness here that you can't, yeah, what are you going to say? Then the mind wants to come in and claim that. It wants to claim that. Maybe that's why people say, because, whoa, I don't know if this is falling. I used to wonder why people, they throw this word around, awakening, so easy. I was like, man, the internet really showed me like what's going on out in the mainstream. It's so easy for the average person to say, yeah, I'm awake. I had an awakening. And I'm like, how do they say that so flippantly? I had an awakening. This is the highest purpose in life, and you say it like it's just, nothing. And I contemplated that, and I'm like, you think because you have some recognition of what's being shared here, that everything's to some degree a program and software, and I just recognized, I felt there was something self-aware for a little bit. Whoa, I had an awakening. That's nice. Like, I'm not knocking that experience or playing it down, but that's like we're supposed to have that. And you can't, just because you had an experience like that, that doesn't, like, you're not done. That continuously gets more ripe. There's no end to it. Even the beings, the entities on the causal dimension creating these these worlds that we're living in. If the human imagines that, the human's like, well, they're done. They're super advanced. That must be really cool. No, they have their own little subtle, maybe they get into the game too much. They're like, like, who knows? Maybe they get obsessed with the whole human thing. Like we can get obsessed with our little creations. Like, we don't know. There's no end. There's no end to this awakening process, this self-awareness. There's no end to it. That's important to remember because it instills humility and you don't get complacent. This is why I keep sharing that. That's the motive of me saying there's no one and done, you're awakening. It's to, for those who can hear it, it keeps humility. Because if you don't keep the humility, the mind is going to take your spiritual experience and then make it into something and then start using words like enlightenment and awakening and all that stuff. I was sharing about the causal level. It made me think, like people here, a lot of people, they're obsessed with manifestation and they just really want to, that they have this idea, if I make a bunch of money or if I get the car and the girl, they have a whole list of stuff they want to do. They think if I get all that, I'm going to be happy. You know what hell, and I'm sure this level of hell exists on another dimension. It could be you go somewhere, you go to one of these dimensions, and you're able to manifest and materialize whatever you want immediately. Boom. Lamborghini, boom. I'm driving the Lamborghini, and all the girls are giving me attention. They're like, wow, I want to be with you. Yeah. Okay. You can manifest that immediately. Okay. Tasted that. I could, make yourself have gains. Won't get gains like this, but let's say you get some gains and you're walking down the street and everybody's just like, damn. Okay. let's say you can manifest all that immediately, you would see that none of this does anything. Nothing. It's all the mind that amps all these fantasies and imagination and desires up into something. I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. I've experienced everything I've ever wanted to experience, and I can tell you it just doesn't do anything. Temporarily, you get a hit of euphoria. Yeah, you get a strong dopamine hit, but then it's not long before the mind's saying, okay, what's next? What's next? Why? Why do you want to do next? You've already like accomplished this or got that. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it like wore off. The drug wore off. So continue your sadhana. The more that we realize that this is all software, then ironically, the more this formless programmer can shine through. When there's less of me, when there's less of the program, there's more of the programmer shining through. The program's still there, that doesn't disappear. But when I say less, I mean less identity with it. Yeah. And we can't explain that process, and that's good. That's what makes it also so fun. It's like so mysterious, you know? All right, I'll see you.